Hey,
How you doing?
how's it going?
Great.
I'm good.
I'm glad you could join me. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for being patient.
Of course. It's the least I could do. I mean, if you're not flexible in this world anymore, you kind of just put yourself in a position where you're never going to get anything done. So it's really nice to be able to at least have the flexibility to do stuff like this now. And I'm kind of hoping that I can continue this post-pandemic and make the time and effort that I have now with no commute and no issues like that to kind of make this a lot easier for me. So
What do you do during the day?
I am a traffic coordinator for Comcast, DirecTV, and Dish. So I put commercials on TV and schedule them and make sure that they run properly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That seems fun.
Yeah.
And you can do that from home, right?
Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to maintain my job and have it this whole time. And this is actually my girlfriend's awesome apartment with her super sweet marble poster right here. Yeah, but she's also able to work from home. So we've been very fortunate in this time frame to still have an income and allow me to be able to do things like this, which is fantastic.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. So we've actually already started. I started recording right when we get into it because this is more of a conversation. It's not really like an interview.
Right.
It's more free form.
Yeah.
I finished your book last night, and I love it, and it's up there now with Unfuck Yourself and Stop Doing That Shit and The Nerdist Way, which were the three other, I don't like calling them self-help books, but like life improvement books that I've read.
I call them personal development. That's really what I've been trying to kind of go for.
Yes, that works really well. I like that, personal development. But there are so many things in this book I wish I had 3 years ago when I had started therapy, when I really needed it. And it sort of intensified and locked in those pieces of things that I've been working on over the last few years, including like stop lying to myself and more in terms of like keeping myself as the blockade of preventing me from doing all the things I love to do. Tell me, what were some of the steps that you came through in this to kind of help you finish the book, and B, like the insights you're giving, because everything in here, everybody needs to know, in my opinion.
Well, I'll be honest, like I was going through a really rough time. I had gone through a breakup, and I was just in a nasty, stupid, abusive relationship, which I think a lot of people do. And I was like in this great spot where I was working with Cold, and I was living with Scooter, and I just didn't want anyone to fuck with me anymore. Like I was finally, everything I'd ever worked towards was happening, and I couldn't let anybody bring me down. And I wasn't happy, and I had to like look at myself and like ask myself those hard questions, like, what do you truly love? Like, what do you want to feel good? Do you want to feel bad? And I was reading this, I read The Law of Attraction. It's like a Abraham Hicks kind of book. And I was really starting to learn about, wow, this is me. I'm getting this because I'm asking for it. This is what I'm focusing on. And what I'm focusing on is expanding even the good and the bad. So I was in a meditation space when I even came up with doing it. Besides, my friend, that day had been like, you're making yourself unfuckwithable. And I was meditating, and I was like, I'm going to make a book called Unfuckwithable. And it was like between that kind of like spirit, what can I do to help change the world, and what can I do to give back, and what am I going through? Because everybody goes through that shit, we're all going through these insecurities and these struggles that we have. And I wanted to keep it at a real level because I'm fortunate enough to be able to play in a rock band and have people look up to me, and I love them. So I just wanted to do something different with that platform besides just music,
Right. And I think that that's vitally important as well, being a musician myself, and understanding that, we have a platform to kind of express ourselves naturally through the form of music. I'm a bassist and a vocalist, so I go through the phases of like feeling, the stress of having to play an instrument and sing, especially a rhythm instrument and sing a melody.
I've done that before. I have done that. I used to play bass and sing and picture, yes. But we changed the band to Chasing the Sun. But I did a whole leg of the tour because our singer had quit and I had to play bass and sing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah, and
it's hard. I have to keep those lines simple. One of the reasons why I love playing with Cold so much is I don't have to sing. I can just focus on the instrument itself.
Right. So I actually saw you guys when you came to Denver at Herman's Hideaway. And I was like 3 feet from coming to talk to you, but your line was like 25 people long. I was like, I can't wait this long. Like, I have to go home. I have to be at work in like 3 hours. So it was like one of those just tough situations. So I'm really glad that we actually get to communicate now. When I found out, like we met on Instagram, and Cold has been one of my all-time favorite bands. They were in literally the first concert I ever got to go to. It was them. It was them, Stained in Puddle of Mud, at the Fillmore in Denver. It was right after 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage came out, and I attached to that record, and Year of the Spider, and Cold, and A Different Kind of Pain. All
of them. Yeah, I saw that. I lived in Tampa, and they would come to Tampa all the time and play. I had a tattoo. Like, I remember they were playing at the Tabernacle. There was Masquerade.
Okay.
There's a Masquerade in Georgia, and there was a Masquerade in Tampa at the time, and Jeremy Marshall, whom I replaced, kind of grabbed me and tapped my shoulder, and he pointed to my tattoo of the spider, and he was like, and I was like,
Yeah, it's crazy. So I saw them also when Scooter was doing Killer in the Star. So happens all the time.
I know, all this is connected.
Yeah. So when I saw them with Killer in the Star, it was a lot more intimate. It was a smaller crowd, and a couple of my best friends and I got to like really experience a show and get to kind of feel what it was like to be in that intimate setting. Is it like just amazing to be around the group of people that you are in this project? And is it like everything you kind of hoped it would be, maybe more, in the sense of like, it's just, it's your idol essentially that you get to play with every day?
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed, but like, I've lived with Scooter. I lived with him for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best, like, we became best friends. I care very much about his family, and he's like my brother now. I can't even imagine him not being in my life, and he's been there through so much, like so much. And Nick and Johnny, it's crazy, and it's better than I expected. I've been in bands my entire life, but the chemistry between all of us, just as friends, humans, and musicians, is really good. And we've had a lot of people say it's the best lineup to date. So I feel like it is, but I don't know. And I loved all of the lineups. I loved all of the music from everybody, but I feel like it's special, and I'm very honored, and sometimes like get all teary-eyed because I'm super blessed to be able to do it. So it's like you can't ever just can't take that for granted,
Exactly. And I think that's something we can all take away from this and from the book, is like, sometimes you just got to shoot your shot. You got to take an opportunity to really, to take a shot and just try. The worst thing that can happen is you get rejected, and you learn from how the process worked the first time, and you grow from that. I think that's the most important thing I took away from the book, is it's stopping yourself from growing no matter what you do. Like, every opportunity that you had that presented itself, you found a way to turn it into a positive or a growing step, and a connection led to a position, led to something different. And I think that that's something that anybody who's trying to get anywhere in any industry, whether it be podcasting, whether it be music, whether it be social media marketing, marketing in general, just taking the time to talk to somebody, sometimes develops a relationship that will get you into any project or open a lot of doors for you.
Yeah, the circle and the people that you have around you is very important. And it's very important to reach out and connect with anybody that you possibly can. Also, just be cool. Don't be a dick. Don't be a douche. Just like, but also create something. Like, one of the things, and I don't know if I put this in the book, but I always say it to my friends. I have like two major rules in life, and they come from Field of Dreams and LL Cool J. Okay, so the first one from Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. Okay, so you got to build it, whatever it is you want to build. And then the second, LL Cool J, doing it and doing it and doing it well.
Right.
So you just got to build it. You got to figure it out. Just craft it and hone the skills in, and like no matter what it is you want to do.
Right, and you have to put the effort in. The doing it well is exactly right. Because if you're not putting the effort in and you're not trying, you're not doing what you need to do to help develop the overall project.
Right. But most of the time, like, that's the lie bullshit that we say, that a lot of people say to themselves is, oh, I can't do that. Well, then, yeah, you're fucking right. You can't.
Right.
Or you can say, okay, well, yeah, you just putting the effort in. It's like, I can't write a book. Oh my God, it's so intimidating. Yeah, well, we got it managed.
Yeah, and it's damn good too.
Well, I was scared, but I learned the songs, got it handled. This is, all these things that when life gives you an opportunity and it's like, oh, well, here you go, then manage it. Manage your life. That's what I'm always, all my friends are like, shut up, Lindsay, I'm trying to manage my life. You used to say that to me. You'd be like, manage your life. I'm like, okay, let's all manage our lives.
Yes, exactly. And what's funny about that too is like, so I have a similar story to yours. It's not nearly on the scale of joining Cold, but I shot a music video with a band that I was in, wearing a t-shirt of a band that I was a huge fan of from Denver. And I got a phone call and an IM on Facebook from their manager like a month after the video came out.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, hey, our bassist is leaving and we like your style. We like your sound. How would you like to like come and play with us? And I was super intimidated. Like, they toured with In This Moment. They had been out on the road. They'd actually like done things. And I was like, I went to Chicago once and played Damnation. Like, that's what I did. And, so I actually said no initially, but they were like, well, come out to Texas with us, play this show, and then make your decision, because I don't think you can do this. So they took me out to Texas. We ended up hanging out with Drowning Pool for a night just to get to know the guys, and played a show in Texas, and I signed my contract the next day, ended up going out on tour with Drowning Pool and my band for 6 weeks, lived the tour bus life. And then we ended up going out, recorded an EP, got that on Billboard, which was also a goal of mine. Woo! And then played with Seven Dust in Canada for 6 shows and across the US there too. So like, I got to experience the things that I wanted out of it because of wearing or having an image of that band and them knowing that that's what we do.
Right. Well, and then saying yes. Don't ever say no. Don't ever say no.
Exactly.
I remember being on the phone with him, and he was like, do you want to do it? And I said yes immediately. And then he was like, well, do you have a boyfriend or a husband or anybody that you need to talk to? And I was like, nope. Done and done and done. And the first person I called was Bella, my daughter's father, because he was with me in Tampa when I'd gotten the tattoo, and he knew what a huge music fan I was. And also he takes care of our daughter while I'm on the road, like doing my dream, living my dream, because I've known him for more of my life than I've not known him.
Right.
Years, like 21 years. And he was like the first thing I was like, you're not going to believe Scooter. I just got off the phone with Scooter Ward from Cold, and he asked me to do this. And he said, you said yes, right? Yeah. But it's so funny. He was like, because we got this. We'll figure out Bella's stuff. We'll get this taken care of. But I mean, he just like having that support system, and somebody saying, well, you sure in the fuck better not have said no. He's like, you said yes, right? But yeah, I did. He's like, so great.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is having the support structure around you is big as well. Like, honestly, this podcast has taken me 4 years to get off the ground. It took the sweetest woman in the world, who's in her room right now getting ready for a trip we're about to take. Like, as soon as I'm done with you, we're getting in a car and driving to the mountains. We're going to Beaver Creek in Colorado. Her parents have a condo up there, so we're going to go hang out with some friends out there and just have a nice couple quiet days to ourselves and enjoy some time together. But she was like, I was like, are you sure this is okay? Like, can I do this podcast thing? She's like, yes, do it. Does it make you happy? Is it something you're genuinely interested in? Give it a shot and see what happens. And I was like, yes, like, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
You need other people's permission. Like, it's good to have encouragement, and that's one thing. It's like a lot of people are intimidated by the success of other people. So if somebody says no and it's still something that you feel like doing, then you need to reevaluate a relationship.
Right. You know, and I think that was the big part for me, was making sure that, like, because this is her space, I didn't want to invade on it. I would have gone back to my place and done it there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I still have an apartment elsewhere, but with the pandemic happening here, and it was just easier for us to be together. So it made sense, because it's one of those things that I'm happy about. I'm happy. I found a really healthy relationship, which is nice, which is also rare. Good. Yes.
It is.
That's one of those things that's just like, it's one of those things that we don't really see very often, it seems like now. And the other side of that too is, like, in your book, you talk about a lot of different types of relationships. People you can't travel with. I know a lot of those. Those are the ones that are the worst, because if they can't travel, it's stressful.
I mean, that's a deal breaker. If I'm like I haven't been in a relationship in so long. It's been years. But yeah, if I start seeing somebody anytime when we can travel again, like, that's the first kind of thing, like a extended kind of like time away, just to see how that person can manage the ups and downs of, fuck. I'm like so laid back all the time, and always, like, even if I've missed flights or whatever, missed the connections from things happening completely out of my control. And I'm like, well, I wasn't supposed to be on that plane. Maybe I'm going to meet, like, somebody super cool on this next plane. It's always in how you, like, just take things. Like, calm the fuck down, take a deep breath, and you're not on that thing, or you're not where you were there, because you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be right here. Right. And when you can take, like, that level, it's just like, you can enjoy it.
Oh, and that's the best feeling, is like knowing that it's just going to happen. Like, we leave when this is over. That's how it was written in the book. Like, I told her, it's like, as soon as we're done, I will gladly pack everything up and we can go. But until then, this is what I'm doing. And, like, it's nice to have that comfort level. And it's the same thing for me, like, with my projects, with the bands that I'm in, I'm in one now. I'm not in multiple anymore, which is nice. But it's the same thing with that. Like, we just recorded 2 brand new songs. We haven't gotten the information, like any of the mixes back, because our engineer is backlogged because he couldn't work for 3 months, so he's got a bunch of stuff he's working on right now. And we understand that and respect it. It's great to know that he's working on it. He keeps us in the loop. It's all I need. It's totally great. And I think that's a big, important part of life in general, is just, if something's not working, don't get mad at it. It's not working because you're not supposed to be doing that right now. It's a totally perfect way to look at it.
100%.
So another project of yours that I read up a little bit about is Girls Rock Indianapolis, which I think is the coolest thing ever. And we actually have one in Denver. It was established in 2012, I believe. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, my guitarist, Ashley,
Mm-hmm.
from Neon Love Life, actually lives in Denver. And she was at that show that you were at. And I hadn't seen her in years. And yeah, she was my guitarist for Neon Love Life, but she works at Planned Parenthood.
That's right. We may have mutual friends then.
Yeah, maybe. And I also have another friend that came to that show from Indianapolis. So it was just like a big old reunion. I love Colorado. I should truck my little butt over there during this whole thing. I'm just trying to get travel as much as possible because I don't have anything going on.
Yeah.
I don't have a schedule. There's no tours happening. I don't have to be anywhere. So I'm just I'll take some books, whatever I have to do. But what was I getting ready to say? Oh yeah, Girls Rock. So I don't have anything to do with Girls Rock now. I was involved from the inception and the birth to for 3 years until I started playing music a lot more and going on the road. So I just didn't have the time for it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a little rock and roll camp for girls ages 8 to 16. They learn instruments. They put together a band. They have loud rehearsal and quiet rehearsal, and they write a song, and all within a week. And they have zine courses and learn how to. They make their own T-shirts. They make their own logos. It's a brilliant program, and it's really helped shape the lives of a lot of people in Indianapolis. And it's going on its 10th year.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. I mean, I feel like I'm just getting old. I turned 42 yesterday, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in my life? 20 years ago, I got a cold tattoo. I co-founded a nonprofit. Where's the time going? And I still feel like I'm 24.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I mean, I've gray in my beard now. I'm 33, so I'm not pushing any age limits here. My sister's actually 43, so you and my sister are in the same vein, which is nice. Makes it easy for me. Happy belated birthday, by the way. You're welcome. But it's also just really cool to hear that there are these opportunities in what kind of feels like a male-dominated genre, where you're giving girls an opportunity to express themselves and give them self-confidence and teach them a skill like music, which I think is something we all need in our lives. I think music is legitimately one of the most important things. As you mentioned in the book, and as I've mentioned several times on different radio shows that I've worked on, music saved my life countless times.
Yeah.
And
it's still good. Yeah. It still saves my life.
Yeah. And there's a song actually that we wrote on our last, we did an acoustic EP before we started releasing rock singles. And there's a song on that called Least Resistance, which I wrote about my brother who passed away 10 years ago. And my best friend is my guitar player, and he and I have spent almost 10 years writing this song. And finally we got the perfect version and recorded it, and we will probably never play it live because of the pain that comes out of it. From I was crying in the recording booth singing it. And it's one of those ones that's just it's still really heavy. Maybe in a few more years I can probably get there. But have you ever reached that point in a song? Is there a song that kind of just gets you to that place? Or is there something that you've had that's just kind of not quite ready for public consumption on a live level, I guess?
Well, no, not necessarily. But one of the reasons why we don't play Cure My Tragedy as much is it's really hard for Scooter to get through that because it's about Jenna's sister and she had cancer. So that's a really hard one for him to do. We might do on this next tour. We're going to try. But is that annoying? Can you hear?
It's totally fine. Yeah, it's quiet on my end, so we're good.
Some shit right now. I'm what the I don't even know who it is. If it's a neighbor, surely it wouldn't be Gino because he knows I'm up here doing
Maybe he's just like, I'm gonna see if I can fuck with this and
Maybe
just see
he's
what
just
happens.
like, let me fuck with Lindsay right now. I don't think he would do that, but who knows?
Funny.
Maybe he's just used to it. Anyway, I can move indoors if it's
oh, you're
annoying.
totally fine. I think the aesthetic is beautiful as it is. I like the backdrop and the vibe.
I got quarantined in the most beautiful fucking place because I was homeless.
Yeah.
When all this went down, you know, it was one of those situations where I had already like made arrangements to stay with one of my best friends. Then I was going to be going on tour, and so his girlfriend had started moving her things in with her son, and so then all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck? And then I have this candle company with, you know, Trisha, my best friend, and, you know, her fiance is Gino Leonardo from Filter, and we've been working on all these projects. And so I called her and I was like, let me just quarantine with you, please. And what we thought it was going to be 2 months, and now it's like I've been living over here for 5 months almost.
Yeah.
So, but I'm super blessed because, you know, we have a candle studio, we've got recording studio, and all these fun animals. I forget what I was getting ready to say. You asked a question.
No,
you were asking about songs. Okay.
Yeah.
Song. I don't have anything. There are things I get choked up in when I'm doing them. Yeah, there's a song recently that Gino and I wrote that it took me a minute because I was pretty choked up and emotional over some shit that I'd gone through. But I don't have to worry about that so much anymore.
That's good. I think that's the healing power of music.
It is, because, you know, like I said, Scooter does have to worry about that. And I mean, even on tour, there were nights that he would be singing Run and it would choke him up. And we have some incredible fans, and like before the meet and greets, and we, you know, learn about their loss or the things that saved their lives. And yeah, you get choked up.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I think I miss the most about touring and playing live right now is getting those connections with those people. Like I may be just a local musician in Denver, but I've been a local musician in Denver for 20 years. So it's been fun to like learn about people who have connected to the songs we've written over the 20 years that I've been in 14 bands. So, but it doesn't change but it doesn't change the fact that like, I know that people are impacted by the words that we present and the things that we sing and the things that we have to say and the music that we write. And sometimes it could be a riff that they attach to that's like, oh man, that lick in that song is just, it moves my soul. And it's one of those beautiful things about music in general. It's just that we find ways to make it, you know, our own, but yet enough to share with everybody. And that's one of the things I truly love, especially about being a bassist. It's like people who truly understand music understand how important a bass is. A lot of people call it the 4-string idiot stick because we
no. Not at all. I don't even think people should say that, because
I agree.
One of the most important aspects of the whole situation.
Yeah, and it gets this bad rap for some reason, and I want to know where that history comes from, because I've been a bassist literally since the beginning. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I've always been like more attracted to bassists than, I mean, I married a bassist. Well, and also divorced a bassist. A drummer, also left a drummer, so I don't even know. I'm just gonna have to get somebody like not in the music industry at all.
I also dated a bassist, so you're good. I understand. And she left me, so I don't know. Maybe she left a bassist. That's how it works.
I don't know, but yeah, we're very important.
Yes, we hold the low end down. We make who was it? One of my engineers said that we're the guys we're the people that make the booty shake. So that's the role of the bassist, right? Yes.
Love it. It is my favorite. Like I really don't ever. I write Now, when I'm writing, I rarely play guitar anymore. I've got such beautiful guitars, but like my acoustic guitars down in Gino's studio, I was like, you just stay down here, and I've got my basses up here in my room, so I write in the middle of the night. I'll stay up
Yeah.
until 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll just write because that's when I get all creative and like crazy.
Yeah, I actually built a quiet studio here so that I can record and track lines here. So I have all the equipment I need, which is great. And I've been writing some lines to just send it out, and I send it out to the band, and they're like, this one's not very good. Ooh, we could use this one. And we've been trying to stay creative through all of this. Has that been hard for you? I know talking to a couple other people, it's been kind of tough for them because they feel like there's no like end goal in mind. So has this been difficult for you to stay creative in this time frame of like the pandemic and things that are going on right now?
Not for me, actually. I've been writing a lot. And then I've also been doing candles. So that's a creative thing for me, and that's an outlet. And I'm one of those people who likes to like see results and get shit done. So for a candle, for me, it's like, here's an order, it's something I create, I make it beautiful, I ship it out, I send it, and I'm happy, and our customers are happy. So that's a good creative outlet for me. Music, I'm always in my head writing songs. I hear them from start to finish. Like I drove home from my friend's house the night that I got back from Indiana. I had a whole song almost completely written in my head. I had to turn off my stereo. It was all going. And I was just trying to remember the opening lyrics because I just needed to get it out. And I like ran into my room and I started like writing, and then I grabbed my bass and boom. And I'm almost all the way done except for a bridge.
Oh.
So I just can't, but I always hear music in my head. I hear all of the parts. I hear everything. But I go months without writing, and then I'm like, boom. Then I'm like writing all. But I fill it with other creative things. So whether it's writing or writing on my blog more, especially since the book is finally out. It's just such a trip that it's finally out. And I'm like, I've got so many things I still have to do, and I've got to do readings, and I need to do like question and answers and all this stuff. Summer was busy though. I just needed to get to Indiana to hang out with my kids. So now that I'm back, I can like take a deep breath and start to put things on the calendar. I guess there's not really an end goal because I'm still gonna. I mean, when you're a creator, you create. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really think that there's an end goal at this point in time. Put something out. Now is the easiest time to get it on the internet and just connect with people. Like, this is what I'm doing. I know that the University Drive boys are doing it. Scooter's writing already, and he's writing for some film and also working on some stuff for the new record. But we want to tour for a while. Even though it's this year we're taking off, we're still going to tour on the things we can't stop.
Which I think is a great, like, for the length of time between records, The Things We Can't Stop is such a powerful record. Like my best friend and I picked it up on the same day. We listened to it from start to finish and then did like a full breakdown of the whole record. And it's just one of those things that like, it gets to the point where you've loved a band for so long. You've really appreciated it. You kind of go off the map for a little while. You find out there's been some lineup changes, things you're like, oh man, this new record, what's it going to sound like? And then the singles come out and then the record comes out and you're just like, this is exactly what it needed to be. And I am a huge fan of that record overall. The run is amazing. With You is great. Like, I love the whole record from start to finish. Was that just kind of like one of those amazing feelings, getting that out and like being like, okay, this first one is completed, let's get ready to start the next one? Is that kind of how it felt?
No, I mean, I'm trying to kind of take in all of it, just like being in the studio. We had rented a house. We did the record in Phoenix with Jeremy Parker, and we wrote it in the studio. So we were there for 6 8 weeks, and we were there all just writing in the studio. Scooter had some skeletons of ideas, but for the most part, we just would go in and be like, okay, what are we gonna do today? how and that's how we did it. So it was really fun being a part of the writing process with it. Also working with Nick Coyle, he's a genius. Also, he's an amazing guitarist, and Scooter's the best songwriter ever. And yeah, I think that I want to tour more with it. Everybody's just excited to get it out, but everybody's working. I know that Scooter's working on some Killer and the Star stuff. I know Nick's got New Lifer coming out. I've got my stuff that I work on with Gino and just my solo stuff. So I want to do a new Cold record, but it's not the time. You're not going to get another Cold record for probably another 2 years.
That's fine by me.
I mean, we don't want, just because this COVID thing happened, this album is not going to go by the wayside. We're going to pimp the shit out of it because it deserves to be, because it's brilliant. And I'm not saying that because I got to play on it. It's a brilliant fucking record. Every single song. So
yeah, and I mean, no one should ever be like, oh, I'm only pimping this because I'm on it. Like I'm all about that. The thing about it is like, you are a group of musicians who are all really, really good at what you do. Nick is a phenomenal guitarist. You're a phenomenal bassist. Sam's a killer drummer. Scooter has been writing lyrics that have made me cry since I was 13. Like, but that
they're so cool.
Yeah, but it's about the presentation and the way that you guys bring it together and make it a unit. Like, I've been a part of so many different projects and so many different forms of the same genre, or groups of people, and it takes this beautiful compromise and this work together to make a really nice project. And the project I'm in right now is called Gunpowder Empire. Is probably the best band I've ever been in, because we are 4 guys that trust each other to be fucking honest about anything that comes to the table. And I think that's one of the important things that a lot of people don't understand about bands, and you can attest to this, I'm sure, is if something doesn't work, you have to be honest with the people in the band with you, being like, this isn't working. Why are we trying to force this? How can we make this better without, essentially scrapping the whole thing and starting over,
right. I mean, usually there's a brilliant part in a song. So even if this part doesn't go with this part, doesn't mean you scratch it all together. Just maybe put it in different songs, or,
Yeah. And you build something with the skeleton that you created in the previous one. We have like I said, we have 2 songs coming out that we literally rewrote the lyrics for 2 days before studio to make them work better, because you just sometimes, as you mentioned, like the 3 a.m. you're like, oh, I'm inspired to write this, and we got together in 6 hours, rewrote an entire song that was 10 times better than the skeleton we had in place.
That's what's the things we can't stop so long to come out, because Scooter changed the lyrics to probably all the songs. Like what he was scratching in the studio, like seriously, it changed. So much changed. But the songs are better because of that time. So that's great.
Yeah, and you guys. And I think that's one of those things a lot of bands don't understand, is like, at least on the local level, is it's like, well, we wrote it this way, so we're going to record it this way, as opposed to being like, well, we wrote it this way, but the engineer has an idea that might work. Have you ever had that with like a producer or an engineer who's just been like, let's try this idea?
Oh yes, that's why you fucking have them, because people can't change. Like lots of songs need to change. Like, even my stuff that I write, Gino will be like, okay, Lindsay, we need to do a part here, because it's not developed completely. So yeah, we listen. Also, sometimes I have to be like, this is exactly how I want it to be. So there has to be like a good balance. Like everything has to be changed all the time. But you gotta listen to what people are saying. I hear music exactly how it should be. I want to produce bands because I'd be like, man, I'll start doing. That's my next thing. I'm gonna start producing some bands.
I would love to hear that, because if you put as much passion into that as you do to anything else that you've done in the short time frame that I've known you, then it's gonna be magic. So I'm excited to hear that. That's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was blown away to find out exactly how old you are. So I was like, there's no way. I thought you were my age. I thought you were 10 years younger. I was like, there's no way.
Let's just say that. I'm
all right.
33.
33 forever.
Fuck it, yeah. 33 forever. I work out all the time. I drink a lot of water, but I also party a lot. I smoke cigarettes sometimes. It's just not all the time. Like everything in life is a balance.
Mm-hmm. And it's about balance, moderation, understanding your limits, knowing what's too far and what's not.
It's definitely about crossing the limits and then not crossing them again for a while.
Yeah, and realizing, oops, yeah.
Oh, that's why I do this all the time. I like to feel good though. I like to be active. So for me to be hungover, it's not fun. So I definitely am in my 40s. I'm not partying as much as I used to because I want to feel good.
Right.
And I talk about that in the book. It's like, do you want to feel bad? Do you want to feel good? Everything's a choice. And, even if I do feel bad one day, then I sleep, start over.
Recover.
That's the beauty of, recovery. Yeah, I have a perfect body that heals itself. It's going to be okay. We're all going to be okay.
Yes. You also mentioned in the book, Jamie and your daughter, and the ability that you guys have with co-parenting and really balancing out your time together. I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from. I think that's something that I think a lot of families could learn from. Because if you're not functioning together, how are you making an environment good for your child or children if you guys are not working together as a unit? And I think that that's something that not a lot of people, like the concept of staying together for the kids is a kind of a dangerous mindset. Yeah, fuck it. It's not right. It's the worst decision in a lot of ways for some people. Has it been, you mentioned in the book that you kind of you got some backlash about it early on because it wasn't the nuclear family or wasn't the general consensus of society. Has that opinion changed in a lot of ways, especially with kind of the concept of co-parenting being a little bit more common in the modern time frame?
I don't know, because I'm so used to, like, he has the main responsibility with her, and I live on a whole different side of the country. I don't know I think that people might judge that. All my friends are understanding of it. And yeah, if people are saying things, I definitely don't know about it. And if they are saying things, I certain the fuck don't care about it. I don't know. We're making things work. We're doing our best with Bella and with ourselves. And like I said, I'm very fortunate that I have her father supports everything that I do, and I support everything that he does. And we're just decided we're not good together, and that's okay.
Oh, it's totally fine.
But we're great friends, and we're really great parents, and Bella's happy. I mean, she's got, like a rock star mom, and her dad's kind of a rock star because he's a great tattoo artist and helps kids and works with people who need help and recovery and all. He's just an all around super cool guy. So.
Yeah, and it sounds like, I mean, she's stoked about, she's an artist as well, right? She's got the skills of like the talent of the drawing world. I've only seen like what you've posted and what you've said about it, but it sounds like she's got that itch for art as well.
Yeah, well, one of my good friends works for Live Nation, and we went to lunch with him because Bella loves him. And so she brought her iPad and she was showing him this like 30 second animation that she had just done. She's super excited about it, and it's not even done yet. And he was like, what the fuck? He was like, you're to intern with me. I got you. He's like, you're working for Live Nation. He's like, I don't even know why you're trying to go to animation school because you learned this on your own. And Bella's like, yeah. And he was like, oh yeah, you're fine. And he's like, Lindsay, she's fine. I got her. I'm like, okay, cool.
That's awesome. Again, it's another situation. Jesus, that's
so talented.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm very happy to hear that like that opportunity presented itself because she was willing to take the risk to show somebody that and be like, look, this is what I'm working on. It's not even done yet, but here's where I'm at. And I think that comes from, I'm guessing that comes from both of you guys because, you know, a tattoo artist can't have everything finished all the time, but he's like, this is the idea I'm developing. You're out there being like, here's the music I'm presenting. Here are the candles that I'm working on, which I'm excited to get mine. I can't wait. We have like 5 candles on this table over here and I'm going to move them and put the one in the middle.
I'm telling you, once you get candles from us, you're not going to go back. Like,
okay.
You're not going to get any other candles because they're so good. And we can make them. We do them in 3-pound batches.
Oh, man, that's cool too. It's like, that's awesome. Yes, I saw that, and that's what I want. I'm going to sneak the pick out and put it in my little collection of picks that I have.
Yeah, when people get cold candles, I put a pick in there.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jimmy Dunlop.
Yeah. I think I'm Steve. I think I'm still a Clayton sponsored pick member. So I have a few of those floating around from my old project. They actually are just changing their name. They're announcing their name change here in a couple weeks. Do you think naming a band is like the hardest thing in the world to do? Is that one of those things that's hard?
Yeah. Me and Gino are trying to name our little side project that we do. And I wrote something. I wrote something down.
Okay.
In my notes, and I wonder if it's still in here because I was like, "Ooh, that's a good band name." I don't know.
Oh,
I'll have to look.
Okay.
No, I'll let you know for sure because I was like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Quotes.
Because
that's not it.
Yeah, because I can tell you right now, I'm so glad I joined bands that were already named for a few of those projects because naming a band is the worst. Yeah, the worst. I think the worst band name I ever had was the first band I was ever in. We were Caucasian Rhythm Disorder, and we had shirts that were made. They were just white shirts, like Hanes, and it was just wrote CRD on them. And gave them away to like the first 3 people. This was the first band I was in high school. But
that's great. The first band I was ever in was called No Strings Attached, and it was like NSA.
Okay.
Our initial. I still have our like a promo shot from. I was 20. I had to have been 20 years old. 19, 20.
I might have my yearbook somewhere around here that has it in there because we played the Homecoming Festival, and
nice.
we got our drummer a date to Homecoming by playing "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" by Jet, and he stood up and he was like, "Caitlin, will you go to Homecoming with me?" And she said yes, and he goes, "Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4," and then went right back into the song, and I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, band names that's hard. I don't even know. Sometimes I'll come up with something brilliant and then I'm like looking it up and it's already taken. The way it works. Like, oh, that's a great name. Oh, obviously somebody else got that as well.
A lot of the podcasts I listen to when they get things that happen in their shows, like I listen to a lot of comedy news-based podcasts, and they're like, oh, Space is Fake. That would be a great name for like a jam band. Space is Fake. Where 25-minute guitar solos and John Mayer randomly shows up on stage for half the set. Like
I always wanted to name a band Lunar Llamas, and this is why. And it's funny because I live on a farm with an alpaca and a llama, but in Kokomo, Indiana, which is where I grew up, it's just 30 miles north of Indianapolis, and there was a llama farm there, and they would every time I would drive by, all of the llamas would just all be standing there looking up in the same space. And it's like they were all like, look at the moon. I didn't know what they were, but they would all be looking in the same direction up. So I was like, Lunar Llamas would be a great name for a band, but
yeah,
I haven't done anything with it. I don't even know what kind of music.
Psychedelic rock. Everything's in tie-dye.
I was like, Lunar Llamas, and he was like, yeah, no. Like, okay.
Yeah, the reason we're named Gunpowder Empire literally is because my guitar player's like, I've been wanting to name a band that for 15 years and you can't stop me. And I was like, fine by me. If it means we don't have to decide anything, Gunpowder Empire it is. And
Gunpowder Empire is a cool name. My old bassist for Neon Love Life, she was in a band called Small Arms Fire.
Oh, nice.
I thought that was a super dope name.
That is a cool name. I like Kaleido Stars and Neon Love Life. Those are both interesting concept. Like, I can see both of them when you say them, and I think that that's big about a band name. Like, I identify cold with the spider immediately.
Mm-hmm. Kaleido Stars, I actually came up with that. So that was on my way to, I think that it was on my way to South by Southwest one year.
Oh.
2014. It was right after Neon Love Life had broken up. And like I said, I can't sit still at all. I have to be involved in music. And it was kind of a crazy thing because Neon Love Life had just gotten hired to open up for Bush at this huge thing. And it was like the local radio station put us on, and Neon Love Life broke up. And I'm like, what the fuck? We've got this show coming up and you guys don't want to do it. And they're like, we're out. And so the radio station programmer called me and he was like, Lindsay, if you can put something together and pull it off in a month, done and done. So we put Kaleido Stars together.
Oh man, see, and that's awesome.
But my boyfriend at the time, he was a producer, and him and his twin brother are crazy amazing musicians, and he's a crazy amazing bassist, and his brother, Mark and Eric Johnson. Mm-hmm. And I call them the brothers Johnson, and they have this great studio called the Pop Machine in Indianapolis. So they fucking were like, let's do it. All right, let's put something together. So I already had like people in my circle that, knew about Neon Love Life and that whole thing. And we wrote 7 songs and got to play the show. And that's when Kaleido Stars.
That's legit. Like, if you can do that and pull it off, that's dedication. That's hard work, focus, connections. That's everything that you talk about. And the universe saying, you want to try it? Go for it. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. My best friend's band at the time was called The Outcast. And they actually had a full band explosion like a week before their last show, like what ended up being their last show. Bassist walked out, vocalist went MIA, other guitar player pieced out, like everything fell apart for them. He called 3 bands, including me, and was like, hey, would you want to just come up on stage and play this one show with us? We'll have like 3 rehearsals. Mm-hmm. It's in a dive bar in Denver. Do you want to do it as like a last hurrah to this project? And we're like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So it was essentially like a medley of all the Denver bands that came together and made this thing happen. And it was a fun send-off for a final project, and ended up getting Sean, my guitar player, and I into the next band we were in together. That led to me being in the band I got to tour with. So like the stages kind of built on each other.
Happens for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a perfect organization. It's like the universe has this little chess game and he's like, boop, boop, boop. I just allow it, just move with it. It's fun.
It's amazing and it's beautiful. And I think that that's one of the things we as humans need to be more comfortable with, is kind of just letting things happen. I don't think a lot of people just let stuff happen or reach out in a time where they feel like they need to take the opportunity. If Sean hadn't called me or called these other people and been like, hey, this happened, do we want to try this? And us saying yes, would have never happened. Mm-hmm. Things would have never fallen in the way they were. But we took that risk, we did that thing, and it created this beautiful story that we still tell to this day. And, you know, two of those guys in that band, my best friend and his brother, are the drummer and guitarist of the current project that I'm in now. So and it's great.
Yeah, hopefully people will take that away from Unfuckwithable, and hopefully they become inspired badasses and just want the book to sell well and change people's lives and all the things.
Definitely. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here in the last little few minutes. Tell us where we can get your candles, your book, and where social media platforms we can follow you on, so that everybody can get a vibe of what Lindsay Manfredi is all about.
Okay, well, lindsaymanfredi.com is my website, and that will take you, if you click on the book, it'll take you to eqxshop.com, which is Equinox Farms. That's our candle company, but I'm selling my book on her site. So eqxshop.com or lindsaymanfredi.com. And then I'm on everything, like my Instagram stuff is all Lindsay Manfredi, and Facebook and all that. And then Cold Music is on Instagram, Cold on Twitter, coldarmy.com for the things we can't stop, and we're on Spotify and Apple and all the things, the YouTubes.
Awesome. And all of those links will be down below when this is up and posted. So including all of your stuff and all of the band stuff. I am definitely a member of the Cold Army and have been forever, and will be until the end of time. Yeah.
Same.
So,
same.
I would talk to you for another hour if I could.
I know, you gotta go. You gotta get your girl. Get it on the road.
Yeah, we gotta go.
I've gotta
get
to my
friends.
They're having a birthday dinner for me. So, and I've got to drive down to Rancho Bernardo. The guy I was just doing the podcast right before I got on with you, and he's like, "I'm in Rancho Bernardo." I was like, "Ah!"
All right, let's go. Awesome.
Going down in an hour. So, okay, like, well, hey, have a good one and have a fun trip. Take pictures. Man, one of the best things about Colorado is I laid out in the middle of Indian Lake one time. It's outside of Durango, and I was just laying on a boat, and just the whole entire Milky Way was just right underneath me, and it was the most beautiful. I love Colorado.
Well, you're welcome back anytime. Hit me up when you're here. I'll come find you.
For sure.
Awesome.
Okay, Michael, well, have everyone. Take care.
You too. See ya. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
It almost feels like someone else is living my life. 'Cause it almost feels like someone else